Hey everyone, I hope you're well. Today we are jumping into the Apex Legends Season 14 Hunted patch notes. There's a lot to go through, of course, Vantages here, and then we've got all the kind of bug fixes, meta changes. There's a lot of meta changes, so yeah, we're going to jump into things here. Firstly, let's just pause that music because it's a little loud, right? We got Vantage here. We all know about her abilities now. There's not really anything new about Vantage yet, but we've seen her abilities. We've also got the Kings Canyon map update. Now, there's actually a lot of changes in the Kings Canyon map update. There's a full amount of kind of breakdown that they've done. There's a lot of changes that they've made to sort of make third partying less of an issue. But the main focuses are on Skulltown returning with a new POI relic. It removes salvage, but brings a large landmass around it that would otherwise just be water. So you have this really large area for rotating through that side of Skulltown now, which is pretty good. They've changed the cage, removed the walls, which now means it's very easy to sort of attack. So they don't want people staying there too long. That's going to help with third partying. They've changed a lot of the routes through the mountains as well. They've changed the POI at the very top of the map. I think it was called Broken Relay before. Now it's called Basin. It's pretty much the same, just with a few added buildings. And they've changed the POI just next to containment here. Just a tiny bit. They've made it less so. They've kind of cut it down a bit and made it, once again, less of an interest area for people to stay in for too long to help cut down on third partying. So, yeah, we've already got to known about that. Now let's get into the interesting details. Players can now level past account level 500 through 3 additional tiers of 500 levels, bringing the effective level maximum to level 500 tier 3. So they're calling it tiers. It's basically like prestiging. This increase adds 345 additional Apex packs earnable via account leveling and ensures that everyone can earn an heirloom just by playing the game. This is super exciting. The total number of Apex packs earnable via account leveling is now 544. So for the very first time in Apex history, even if you never spent $1 on this game, not even for a single battle pass, you'll now just be able to level up to get your very own heirloom shards, which is pretty cool. So this is cool. Battle pass. Certain battle pass challenges can now be completed in either battle royale or non-battle royale modes. Okay, that's interesting. I guess we'll learn more about that soon. Ranked results. Okay, this is going to be very interesting. For Split 1 of Season 13, we have the following max tier distribution among players who played more than 10 hours of Ranked versus Season 12's Split 1. So, wow, look at this. This is crazy. Silver has gone up to 28% from 3%. Gold is like half of the player base. Platinum before was 40%, now it's only 14%. Diamond is 1%, and before it was 26%. And Master and Predator is 0.1% of players. In the past, it was almost 5%. So, Season 12, it was super easy to get to Masters, honestly. They made massive changes in Season 13, and you can see that getting Diamond in Season 13 is actually harder than it was to get Master in Season 12. That's crazy. And, you can see pretty much the same sort of scores in the second split as well. They changed some ranked change. Okay, this is interesting. Entry cost has gone up +5. Is that for every single tier or just for every rank? Remove diminishing returns on eliminations. Really? Ranked reset, no change. Resuming ranked reset of 6 divisions. So you go back 6 divisions. But this is interesting. Does this mean there's sort of no kill RP cap? It's going to be a bloodbath. Yeah. They didn't really say anything about specifically changing matchmaking for ranked as well. I hope we get more information about that soon. Right, let's get into some of the balance updates. First the weapons and then the legends. Look at this. You see this little bar here? Yeah, we got a long way to go through this thing. We really do have a long way to go. All right, laser sights. New attachment to replace barrels for SMGs and pistols. Reduced hipfire spread. Yes, this is going to be really exciting. I think it's going to make SMGs even more meta than they were in the past, which is kind of nuts. Crate rotation, G7 Scout and Vault return to the floor. It doesn't say what damage they're going to be dealing at the moment. There may be more details to follow. This is sort of like an early look at the patch notes here. Not every single detail may be here, or perhaps they aren't going to flesh it out. We'll have to find when the update goes live. And of course, Bocek and Rampage enter the crate. There's no extra information here, so I'm really curious. Stay tuned for any updates on Twitter from me or on my second channel about that, because I'm very curious about that. Right, so we also get the Wingman and Car coming back to the floor, and this is quite an interesting change. Ever since they added the sort of rotation of weapons going into the crafter, it's always been meta weapons. The Devotion and RE45 have never been meta, but this is what kind of interests me. RE45 plus Hammer Point combo enters the crafter. So can we just craft an RE45 for the same cost as any other weapon? What is it, like 30 crafting? I don't know. That could be kind of good if it's built in, but I'm not sure. Gold weapon, we get the Longbow, the Scout, the Mozambique, the R99, and the Hemlock. Okay. SMGs. Okay. Well, I suppose we probably should have expected that. Laser sight, reduce hipfire spread, but the base hipfire spread has been increased. Are they essentially making a max tier laser sight SMG the same as pre-Season 14 SMGs, or is a max tier laser sight better? We don't know. There is not enough information to go off here, but we're really going to have to test it out when the season drops, and I definitely will test it out here, so make sure to subscribe for that. But that's a really important thing. Base hipfire spread increased, right? It's worse. Hipfire on SMGs is now worse, and they don't take barrels. So this is actually kind of a curveball. I wasn't expecting this. Assault rifle hipfire spread increased. That makes sense if you want the SMGs to be the sort of meta choice for up close. Makes sense to reduce the hip fire on this, and honestly I expect them to do quite a considerable increase of recoil. No stats here, but I imagine flatline hip fire may not be effective anymore, which is really going to make people reconsider what weapons they choose. Right, Eva 8. Recoil improvements. Okay, there's not much recoil on it. That's interesting, but it does now take stocks. It wait, this is interesting. Removed 1 pellet from blast pattern. So that's, what, like 8 less damage or something? Fire rate increase from 2.3. There we go. They've added 1 extra damage per pellet. So the damage is about the same, but they removed 1 pellet, which, would that make it more consistent or less consistent? I don't know. Someone do the maths. 1 less pellet for the same amount of damage technically would be more consistent, because if you hit 1 pellet out of 7 instead of 1 out of 8, that's kind of cool. This spot of rate fire bonus increased as well. Okay, it's very minimal. It's like a 10% increase, if that. Not even a 10%. 1.2 fire rate to 1.3. I don't know how that's going to feel in game. Pretty interesting though. That is quite a big change for the Eva 8. Going to be fun to try. Now let's take a look at this bow check. Oh, here's the extra information here for the weapons. Okay, I didn't see that. Damage at full speed, full draw increased to 70. That's a considerable buff. Tempo draw speed increased, a small one. Shattercap's pellet damage increased as well. Fired arrows can no longer be collected. So I was wondering what they're going to do with that. You basically have a set amount of ammo and you cannot reclaim that ammo. Makes sense as a care package weapon, and of course you can't find arrows on the floor anymore. Rampage LMG damage increased to 28 from 26. So this is basically day 1 Rampage. It's not that overpowered. We've dealt with it before. I did a whole video about it, like that 2 damage increase, because it's such a slow fire rate weapon. It doesn't really change the time to kill values much. Like, there's a very few cases where it really does change anything, so don't worry about that. This is basically the Scout, right? When you saw the Scout in the care package, did you pick it up? Some of you will say yes, but the majority of you say, nah, just walk past it. The Rampage is now the new Scout. It is just put there to kind of give room for other weapons, like the Vault, which is now on the floor. Damage has, of course, been reduced to 15 from 17. Now, let's just take this into consideration here, right? The Vault was a very good care package weapon. It had 2 extra damage per shot, but the Vault fires so much faster than the Rampage, which is also getting 2 extra damage per shot. So the DPS effective DPS of the Vault when it was care package was super high, but the Rampage fires so slow that this damage increase doesn't really mean much. Car SMG no longer takes barrel attachments, okay, like all other SMGs. G7 Scout has been reduced. Like, you can see that the reduction isn't much because it's been back to the ground. It's so funny to say this, but getting a G7 on ground isn't so bad. Getting it as a care package is bad. Maybe because they don't buff it enough to make it really feel like a care package weapon. At that point in the game, it's a long-range weapon, which means it usually drops later in the later stages of the game. So you're going to be set up already, right? L-Star, oh no. Wait a minute. They buffed it. Increased projectile speed. That's interesting. The L-Star's bullets fire pretty slowly through the air, so that's going to be interesting. Increased number of shots before overheat at base to 24 from 20. I'm guessing they didn't change the energy magazine size on that, but that's quite a big buff for Rampart. Remove, especially if you land, like, this, basically what they're doing with this is making L-Star a viable weapon off drop, which is pretty cool. Remove bright red flash when hitting non-armored targets. Interesting change. I would love for them to just get rid of the bright flash completely, but nice to see that they did that. Okay, yeah, so I made a video about this on my clip channel. Essentially, the RE45 had a weird FOV. It wasn't normal, and they've now changed that, and they've increased the strafe speed. So if you didn't know, the RE45 is an SMG pistol hybrid, so it always had a weird strafe speed. The devs finally caught onto it and put it where it belongs. It's going to feel more like a normal weapon now, but who's going to craft it anyway, right? Wingman now uses sniper ammo and magazines. Luckily, this has been talked about so much within the Apex community already, because they didn't give any like insights into this. They're just like, yep, it uses sniper ammo and magazines. I find that hilarious. But yeah, it's a good change, honestly, if you haven't heard about it, because the Wingman is far too efficient with the amount of ammo it uses, which means you can carry one stack and a bunch of meds or grenades, instead of taking like a flatline or a Spitfire and needing to take like 3 stacks of ammo. It frees up so much inventory space. By bringing it to sniper ammo, you can no longer do that. You really have to be careful about how much ammo you pick up and what you reserve your inventory space for. Besides the ammo change, nothing else has changed to the Wingman. Sniper ammo inventory stack increased to 28. So to kind of balance the Wingman, not to make it too ridiculous, each stack contains 28. So it's 4 extra shots per inventory stack. That's going to buff snipers a little bit. Nice for Vantage. Spitfire recoil adjustments to increase a vertical barrel climb. Okay, Spitfire now uses light ammo magazines. We saw about that. They want to bring more weapons to the light ammo side, kind of get less attention off of the heavy ammo meta, so that there's going to be more of a sort of healthy ammo meta pool late game. If you kill a player, you want to try and get at least a bit of ammo for your gun. Now, strangely enough, mostly we're not using heavy ammo weapons in Season 14, so strange to see the Spitfire happen now, the Spitfire change. The 30-30 got quite a considerable buff. It doesn't yet say anything about the shatter gaps being removed, but we'll have to wait for that. Dual loader has been worked into the base 30-30 repeater, so you're going to reload 2 shots per round. That's pretty cool. And in Helltech Skull Pisser, they're buffing this thing like crazy. Mastiff, projectile growth reduced. Okay, so this is going to basically, if you don't understand this, Apex has a weird mechanic, but it does make sense if you understand it. When you fire a bullet, it will grow in size the further it travels. And the reason they do this is to help you hit long-range shots. If you have a sniper, by the time it's hit 300 meters, that bullet is actually pretty big. It keeps growing. They reduced that on the Mastiff to give it a little bit less long-range power, which is understandable. They've also reduced the fire rate and removed dual load. It had dual loader? Oh, I guess it did, yeah. Still a care package weapon. Sentinel. Deadeye's tempo has been worked into the base Sentinel. I like that. Nice. That's going to make the Sentinel feel so much snappier. I'm so excited for that because I really, really like Deadeye's tempo. I really like the Sentinel. It's my favorite weapon right now. And with Vantage in the game, I'm going to really like it. By the way, we haven't even seen the Legend updates yet. That's crazy. Double tap is back. It goes to the Eva 8 and Scout. Skull Piercer, 35% headshot damage increase on Longbow, Wingman, and 30-30. They haven't written anything about reducing the base headshot damage for these weapons yet. If they have not reduced the base headshot damage yet, this is going to be a juicy season for the 30-30. Usually when they bring the Skull Piercer back, they do reduce the base headshot damage to give it a little less power. This is going to be nuts. Remove Deadeye's tempo. And Shatter Caps are now gone. Right, Deadeye's tempo has been built into the Sentinel. We've got Skull Piercer and Dual Loader on the 30-30. Dual Loader being built into it, and Skull Piercer, you still need the hop up. Shatter Caps is gone. It's alright, it wasn't that good anyway. Boosted Loader has been reduced to epic quality. Yeah, that makes sense. I never really feel like Boosted Loader deserves the legendary tag. That may mean we actually see it more often, depending on how they deal with the loot economy. But, yeah, makes sense. All right. I just saw a Valk nerf. Okay. Backpack Gold perk. New perk, Deep Pockets. Large medical supplies stack higher in your inventory. Batteries and medkits now stacked to 3. Phoenix kits now stacked to 2. So they've removed fast res, right? Oh, no, they haven't. They put Guardian Angel to the knockdown shield because self-revive has been removed. Yeah, that makes sense. Guardian Angel was on the backpack. It's moved to the knockdown shield, and self-revive has been removed. I think self-reses are fun for pubs, but not so fun for ranked. Reduced stick damage and armor to 10. Oh, no. Remove aim slow on stick remains on detonation. Detonation damage increased. Okay, so this is a massive Arc Star nerf. Honestly, I don't know. It's like annoying to get stuck by an Arc Star, but it's equally as fun to stick someone. I'm kind of sad about this. They're trying to nerf nades. Well, Arc Stars, I suppose. Maybe it's a little too easy to just down someone with a stick. Oh, okay. Explosive hold. So these are the loot boxes in Kings Canyon. Added blue attachments to possible spawns, so they're nerfing them. Added laser sights and reduced spawn rate of gold magazines. They're straight up nerfing the explosive hold loots because they have buffed the overall loot on Kings Canyon. I think that's the reasoning behind that. Right, Legend, Valk. Acceleration on activation decreased by 8%. They've reduced the speed of her passive. Fuel consumption on activation increased. No way. That's a huge increase. Aerial boosting and strafing take a 20% debuff when hit by slowing effects. Added a third orange state to the fuel meter. UI between green. Okay, so that's just kind of to let people know how much fuel you have. That's a considerable nerf to her passive. Missile Swarm. Aim/turn slow removed. That's quite a big nerf. They've... Oh, wait, hang on a minute. Aim slow removed, but the move slow is still there, but the duration of the move slow has been reduced, and the explosion radius has been reduced. That is a straight up beefy nerf to the tactical. And here's the ult. Height reduction of 25%. You're not going to be able to fly as high, which also then means you're not going to be able to fly as far. Launch time reduced. Coupled with the height reduction, players in fact out now travel upward at a slightly slower speed. Obviously, because you only reach like a lower height in the air before you start flying away, they just basically made it so you hit that sort of skydive state at the same time, as far as I understand it. Could be wrong. But no, actually, no. You do go into the skydive state earlier. Half a second earlier because of the reduced height. That makes sense. They didn't make any adjustment to that. It's just an effect of the height reduction. That's a big one. They actually nerfed her tactical and passive more than her ult here, which I'm quite surprised about. Adjustments to Newt's hitbox to make destroying it more reliable. And Newt takes 50% more damage from explosives. They nerfed Horizon's ultimate. Improvement to perimeter security placement system. I hope so. Is that her? That's got to be a tactical, right? I hope they fixed that. Retrieve the wounded, increase move speed. No way. Reduce turn slow, increase white knockdown health. Wait, they buffed the knockdown shield health for Newcastle when he uses it. They want Newcastle in the meta. It's so clear they really want him in the meta. I like it. Mobile shield, increased the HP, doubled max movement speed as well. Cool. Castle Wall. Added turn slow to electrical barrier effects and increase the severity of the slow effect to movement. This is a massive Newcastle buff. Massive. Absolutely huge. That's nuts. Maggie gets a buff. Oh my god, there's so much. Projectile launch speed doubled. It's not too bad. Okay, Wrecking Ball will travel twice as far while dropping the same amount of magnets. This is great. I like this. Good. Duration increased from 5 to 10 seconds, so it can travel a really long distance now. You don't need those magnets everywhere because, once you get the speed boost, it's going to last a while. Wrecking Ball will deal damage to enemy placeable objects. Fixed Wrecking Ball, not blinding and slowing enemies. So a good buff to Maggie. It's still going to just randomly fly into the air at some time, so RNG there is going to cause Maggie to never really get picked much. But besides that, nice buff. Rampart now ignores friendly collision on amped cover placement, i.e. placing walls around teammates will feel more smooth. Oh, that's great. So many times people stand in front of the door and I can't put a wall down. This is really good. Nice quality of life change. Caustic, fixed gas ramping bug where transitioning from friendly to enemy gas. Yeah, that's very needed. You don't want to keep ticking up damage secretly whilst in teammate gas. That's ridiculous. Mirage decoys will now be scanned by Valk when skydiving. Mirage decoys will now be picked up by Seer's Heartseeker. Fixed a bug where Mirage decoys were picked up by Seer's Exhibit as AI. This is a massive buff for Mirage. People don't even realize. Mirage being an actual counter to Seer is huge. Seer is already growing in popularity and high-level play. This is kind of exciting to see. Death Totem will now show a placement preview when activated instead of placement. Okay, well, pretty useless. Crafting update. When any player interacts with a materials harvester, all players in their team will be given the materials. That's nice. Removed shatter rounds, removed hammer points, heavy energy and sniper increased. Laser sight you can craft, 25. Stock and barrel has been increased. Skull pisser, double tap, kinetic feeder have been added. Shotgun bolt has been reduced. 2 to 4 ACOG has been reduced. Maps. Okay. Ooh. Kings Canyon, World's Edge, and Storm Point in public. This is interesting. Ring 1 damage increased. Ring 1 pre-shrink time decreased. Ring 1 closing time. Hang on a minute. The closing time is longer, but it does more damage. Pre-shrink time. Oh, they've just cut off 2 minutes of time for the first ring closing. This is big. I assume this is only for pubs. I don't know, but that's really, really nice to see. Remove some frustrating final rings at staging that were causing heal loss. Okay, yeah. New mode map, UI element on load screen and start flow. Winning and champion tags added the scoreboard. Added ability to use tap, interact pubs. I mean, there's a bunch of other stuff you can see here. Bug fixes. Really, really big stuff. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. I'll see you all in the comments. Cheerio!